Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Joe Spiker and his team at Easton Roofing, proud sponsor of Danny Clinkscale. Danny Unleashed, as we like to call it. Also, proud sponsor of DannyClinkscale.com. Easton Roofing, estimates always free. Suggestions, they're built on integrity. Let Easton Roofing educate you about every possible roofing solution for your home or business. It's not about Easton Roofing, it's about your specific roofing need. They know that. And sometimes a re-roof, yes, that's what you need. Sometimes you don't. And Easton Roofing is happy to provide you with all the options that are there for you. They're the best in the business. Call them today at 913-257-5426. Best in the business. Angie's List Super Service Award winner. They are just loved by all their customers. I know. I'm one of them. Whether it's your business or your home. Let Easton Roofing get you back to business faster, get you back to life faster right now with Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Danny, welcome, my friend. How are you, sir?
Looking out at a bright blue sky and reasonable temperatures and the excitement building and Kansas City feeling proud and full of itself, and rightfully so. So things are good.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. What's your prediction on the game?
I am predicting 26-24. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game than some think. This does come with a caveat. I've said this on multiple podcasts this week and the last couple of weeks. People often pick a score and don't think how you get there, so they'll just willy-nilly pick a number, and I'm like, how's that happen? You know, if they pick 36 or something. So I'm picking 26-24 because I do think the Bucs are going to be able to force the Chiefs into some field goals. So I have the Chiefs scoring 6 times, the Bucs scoring 4 times. The Bucs have been very good about getting in the end zone this year. But if the Chiefs turn 1 or 2 of those field goals into touchdowns, then we have the score that many people are talking about. But I just think the game's going to sort of grind it out a little bit early on, and or the Chiefs are going to have to take a more precocious way of matriculating down the field that might take a little bit more time. So I guess I am picking a score that's lower than most that I hear, but I'll say 26-24 with perhaps that 24 being a touchdown that pulls the Bucs close late. So that would be my call. I've kept it that way for a few days now. If it's going to be different than that, it's going to be the Chiefs that are going to spread it out, I think.
So you've got KC 26-24.
Yep.
Why? Let me ask you this. Let's play this game.
All right.
Who's the better quarterback right now? Not career accomplishments. Who's better right this moment?
Clearly, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Who's the better coach?
The better coach is Andy Reid.
Who is the better defensive coordinator?
I think it's close, but I'll go with Steve Spagnuolo. And I think in all these cases it's relatively close.
Okay. You think that you do? You think Arians and Reid is relatively close?
I do. I think that Arians has a very good offensive mind. He thinks about things differently than Andy Reid does. I think he seems to have good rapport with his with his players in a different way. I think he challenges them more, is more willing to criticize them on a podium, for instance. But I think that people seem to like playing for him and want to go to battle with him. That wasn't me, by the way.
That was me.
So, yeah, I think Bruce Arians is a good coach. I do.
I'm fine with the idea of him being a good coach. I think Andy Reid's a great coach.
I agree.
And I think the records bear it out. And so my point is those are the 3 most important elements of this game, and the Chiefs are better in all 3. So why is it 26-24?
For the reasons I stated. I think that the Chiefs are going to have to not use some of the over-the-top stuff that they normally do. I think it's going to be a little bit harder for them to score. I think it's probably been overstated, but I do think that the the Bucs defensive line is going to cause some problems, and not just because, a lot of people will say that San Francisco's defensive line was better, and it was overall, but I think the Bucs have found some form here down the stretch with their defensive line, and I think that's kind of a momentum thing. So, like I said, I think it's 26-24. If it's going to be a little more than that, that would be the Chiefs turning the field goals I think they're going to be forced into touchdowns, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but I'm going to stick with the closer game.
Okay, I tweeted this out earlier today because I was listening, and this kind of goes in the face of what Bob, is more reason why I kind of disagree with Bob's assertion that
It was a very entertaining segment, by the way.
Thank you. On behalf of the callers that made it so. I will disagree with Bob from the standpoint that I think there's lots of Bucs talk. I tweeted out today, watching ESPN fawn over the Bucs and Brady for how well they've played since losing to the Chiefs. Keep in mind, these are the teams they played. Minnesota, 7-9. Atlanta, 4-12. Detroit, 5-11. Atlanta, 4-12. Then to the postseason. Washington, 7-9. New Orleans, 12-4 and looked like they were out of gas, to be honest with you, in my opinion, but still a 12-4 team. And Green Bay, 13-3. And they had up all these stats. Well, they're averaging 34. In that time, they're averaging 34 points per game, number 1 in the NFL. They're averaging this many yards, number 2 in the NFL. They're only giving up this. That's number 6 in the NFL. They're only giving up this. That's number 7 in the NFL. Minnesota, Atlanta, Detroit, Atlanta, Washington. 5 of the 7 games are against nobodies. Now, yes, they have beaten 2 good football teams. It's called the playoffs, and it's a tournament. Inevitably, somebody's going to keep winning, right? Like, it can't be like, oh, man, it was such a tough tournament. We didn't even have a Final Four because everybody got knocked out before it. No, it doesn't work like that. Somebody's going to advance. And I think the Packers just crap down their leg. I mean, I don't know how. So I give credit to the Bucs. They put them on the potty and let them do it. But, I'm not trying to take away from their success on it. But I don't see where what they've been doing. I think we're forgetting the caliber of opposition. And I think the only real great win in there is the Packers.
Right, but I think that the Chiefs, I don't think there's anything glorious about the 2 Chiefs playoff opponents. I mean, I think they were good.
You don't think the Bills? The Bills were they were God's gift.
Well, they were.
Josh Allen should be getting MVP votes. Buffalo's the better team. Come on.
Well, that's not what I thought. So I think that these are ascending teams that really weren't ready for the stage that they were on. And I think they'll be probably better.
I don't think the Packers are an ascending team.
No, not the Packers. I think the
Browns and Bills.
Browns and Bills. I don't think they were quite ready for this particular go-round in the playoffs where they were. So I think the stage was too big for them. I think the stage might be too big for Josh Allen for maybe forever because he seems to not play as well as he does other times when the stakes are the biggest. But that's something he's going to have to prove that is not a narrative going forward.
Does the stage get even bigger in the Super Bowl?
Oh, of course it is. Yes. But I don't
okay.
think. I think
so
the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are full of players who this is not going to be that big a deal for them. Either they played in it, or they're veterans who've been around for a long, long time. So I don't think that.
Besides Tom Brady, who's played in it?
Pierre-Paul. I said played in it, or are longtime veterans who I think are just seasoned and ready to just play football. And then they've played a couple of playoff games, very high profile playoff games. So. I just don't think the stage is too big for them. And certainly it's not too big for the Chiefs.
I'm doing everything I can.
Certainly,
we know it's not.
No, we absolutely know it's not. So, I mean, you act like I just picked the Bucs to win the game. I didn't. I said they were going to win a close game, and if it's not going to be quite that close, it's certainly going to be the Chiefs that are going to be the team that opens it up.
Well, I know that's such a worthless pick. I mean, it's going to be close unless it's not.
No, I said I'm sticking to the pick.
Saying if it's a blowout, it's in one direction.
I'm sticking to the pick, 26-24. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Danny, I'm doing everything I can to pick a fight with you.
I know you are.
Would you please, I'm
a lover, not a fighter.
Danny is being
Since I've never been in a fight in my life.
Danny is being positively Sam McDowellian in avoiding the fisticuffs.
I do think that I will say this. If you want to pick a fight, I think that the Chiefs better not be as confident as their fans are.
I don't think they are.
Or they're going to overlook the game.
They've shown no sign of that this week.
I haven't talked to a Chiefs fan who is even concerned about the game.
What about the 3 callers we took last segment saying, well, what about the offensive line? What about this? What about that? Well, they didn't count. They're not Chiefs fans.
I didn't hear them.
Well, thanks for listening,
Bob
Danny.
says it's 24-23 either way. One team's going to win 24-23, not sure which one. And then Jeff says it's 41-17 Chiefs. Unless they start calling a lot of holding penalties, then it's a close one.
Well, by the way, when you talked about Bob, I thought you were talking about Bob Clobber. That's why I said it was a good segment. Because I heard it yesterday. So it wasn't Bob the caller, because I was busy. Okay. I didn't hear Bob the caller.
Okay. All right. But no, so, I mean, point being that, I'm glad we could entertain you yesterday. I think there's still some Chiefs fans that still have a lot of that, oh, God, how's it going to go wrong for us kind of mentality. I actually think it's okay for Chiefs fans to be confident, and I think it's okay for a team to be confident. Just not, and I know this is what we usually end up doing, semantic arguments, but, I think they look like a team that knows that they're going to kick ass. And I think they're ready to do it. I think they know how to do it, right? At the height of his power, did Muhammad Ali enter the ring going, geez, I'm not sure if I'm ready? No, he entered the ring going, I'm going to pummel someone. Mike Tyson entered the ring. It was when he wasn't sure, when he got Evander Holyfield, that he lost his mind and started biting him. But for the most part, that's okay. You can still do your job and be confident and be like, hey, I love this game plan. There is no way Levante David can cover me. If you're Travis Kelce, I think that's fair. There's analysis, there's analytics that back that up. If that's going to be their plan, I really do think the Chiefs right now, if they just get decent offensive line play, and I think we're going to come out of this, and if they win this game, and if they win it going away, maybe the guy who's going to grow the most as far as reputation is going to be Brett Beach, right? If the Bucs don't wreak holy hell on Patrick Mahomes in this game, then the legend of Brett Beach is going to grow mightily, because they lost 5 offensive linemen, and Brett Beach's backup still handled the mighty Bucs defensive line. That will be the conclusion. I will at least point it out to people and say, well, this is what everyone was afraid of. So doesn't that then mean the guy who put together this crew of backups must have done the best job ever at assembling backup offensive linemen?
Well, he should absolutely get a lot of credit, but I do think that there's a possibility that the Chiefs that Andy Reid will be a big part of why the offensive line succeeds in this game too. But I'll have to see. I mean, if they hit 3 deep balls to Tyreek Hill on 7-step drops, then it's the offensive line. I mean, but if they're throwing quick slants all day long, that that Kelce and Hill turn into big plays, and you really didn't even have a chance to get to the quarterback, then that will be a different thing.
Yes, but I still think that's part of the game today. I mean, quarterbacks get the ball out. Even Patrick Mahomes gets the ball out most of the time. There are the times that they take their shots. And a lot of times it comes with a lot of other things going on to distract from the shot and to slow down the rush. I do agree. I think Andy Reid's genius as a play caller and play designer, which is different, is not, what gets him all the credit and hype and love is the routes that are being run,
right.
The pattern combinations. But in reality, I think a lot of what he does that's so brilliant, when you watch the games back or you rewind it and you just see that, my God, he had 7 different options on that play. Like, if you're a defensive coordinator, you need an hour of practice just to figure out all the variations we've got to be ready to stop on this one play.
And another big part of it is the people who are running the plays. I mean, some of the route that Tyreek Hill runs would take another, second for another wide receiver to run if he's going to go all the way across the field, or go down.
And he's not going to be open because he's not faster than the DB, and the DB will be with him stride for stride. Now, there's no doubt it is a perfect storm of brilliant play designer and play caller, brilliant quarterback, and brilliant receivers. And that's where I was going initially was that I think that if they get average offensive line play, they can't be stopped. Like, this group cannot be stopped with these rules that exist in the NFL. And at least at this athletic level, before they begin to deteriorate, and Patrick Mahomes should be, at least 5 years away from, or at least 3 years away from the legs starting to go. The arm talent doesn't seem to go for most quarterbacks until 35, 36. So 10 years away from the arm talent. But the combination of, like, when the rush gets through and Mahomes buys more time, and it's like basketball. Like, your game plan can't be to beat the Lakers 6-0, right? They're going to get 110. Can you get to 112? Right? That's kind of how you have to look at the Chiefs. I really think that's how it is. They're going to get to 30.
Right. If they get average offensive line play in this game, they'll win. They'll win more handily than I say they will. I mean, if the Bucs are going to win, it's going to have to have been an issue in the game. That Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be under duress like he was in last year's Super Bowl. If he's not, then they're going to score more than 26, and they're going to win by more than 2.
Who's more likely to get a defensive or special team score?
Oh, the Chiefs, for sure. I mean, Patrick Mahomes just doesn't throw interceptions. The best chance for them to get a touchdown is a strip sack and rumble.
Yeah. They've had 2 turnovers combined in their 2 postseason games. That includes a quarter and a half of a backup quarterback.
Yeah, they do.
And one of those was Penny.
They generally don't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady has thrown more interceptions this year than any quarterback in football. Yeah. Now I think for instance, in the NFC Championship game, what we saw, a couple of those were basically punts. I don't think he cares. I think he's at a point in his career where he actually bought into the no risk it, no biscuit, and so he was willing to throw a few more interceptions to get the kind of big chunk plays that he, surprisingly, was still capable of throwing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those are just, like, you got to be really bad on defense to get beat on those, because they're lollipops.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. The thing is, you can throw a good deep ball that doesn't have, a tremendous amount of zip on it, as long as it's got the proper arc and so on and so forth. So, I mean, that doesn't make it necessarily a bad defensive play. I mean, the guy's got to be open, but, that's the case anyway.
Yeah. But the 2 biggest plays he hit against the Packers, I don't see him completing those balls against the Chiefs. The one deep pass to Miller before the first half, and then the long one down the field to Godwin. I think it was Godwin.
Well, the Chiefs' defensive I think the Chiefs' defensive backs are first of all, they've played better and better as the year has gone along, and secondly, I think they benefit from postseason officiating. I think they were been.
Yes,
I'm fine with that.
If they played, if they played that
but it's
game,
still postseason officiating in this game.
Exactly, and I think they were coached that way, and that's good coaching. In a regular season game, the Chiefs probably would have had 6 or 7 defensive holding plays calls in the championship game.
I didn't see a one.
No, of course you didn't.
Not a one.
Yeah, they were perfect. They never touched the other guys.
No,
if they were
amazing.
If they were wearing sensors on their hands, they wouldn't have gone off.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing what they're able to do. I will disagree on the deep ball thing, because Tom Brady's deep balls, if you look at where the receiver is and where the defensive back is when he lets go of the ball. Now, I grant you, there is some spatial awareness and a vision that he's like, okay, they're even, my guy's leaving, and so I can put this out there for him. Like, you could do that with Tyreek Hill, but I don't see that that's really what's going on with Tom Brady. I see Tom Brady as like, this is the play where I got to back him off and take a shot, so we're going to take a shot. And like you said, if I get picked, I get picked, but I've got to back him off and let him know we'll do it. And he lets it go. And sometimes the receiver gets there, and other times you're like, what the hell was he thinking? And I think you've got a lot of those what the hell was he thinking picks this year, because he is, putting it down there, and Arians has told him, listen, it's fine to throw a pick. We've got to back him off you. This is what we're going to do. We'll throw a pick, and it's kind of like a punt, like you said. But a lot of them, at times, they look like just such an egregious mistake, because he's made up his mind he's going to throw it no matter what, because he has to let go of it before the guy's actually open.
Well,
I don't think guys are going to run open on the Chiefs.
For instance, the interception when he threw deep to Mike Evans with somebody right in his face was, in my mind, a good risk. I mean, I think Evans botched the play. It was one-on-one coverage. If he's got any awareness, he's going to stop and fight with the defensive back for that lob and maybe get it. Instead, he just kept on running his route. It was dumb.
Stupid wide receivers.
Dumb old Mike Evans out there botching everything up.
On that play, he did.
Stupid wide receiver.
Stupid Mike Evans dumbed his way to the first time ever a guy's had 1,000 yards in his first 7 seasons. That
he made a dumb play. I mean, he's a fine wide receiver. They're capable of making dumb plays. Travis Kelce calls himself out for making dumb plays.
Yeah, but because he does, it's no longer a dumb play. And he wears a Chiefs uniform, so we're okay with it.
Exactly.
It's all good.
We're okay with it. All right, we'll take a break. More with the great Danny Clinkscale. It's Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. If that roof's been beaten up, there's still some ice to come. That ice will create some major, major problems for you. Have them come out, take a look. Estimates, they're free. Inspections, they're free. Take advantage right now. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Call Easton Roofing today at 913-257-5426. Schedule that free, honest estimate right now. You can find them online at eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing, integrity matters.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing, integrity matters.
All right, the Joe's Kansas City Barbecue burnt end of the hour answer. Who was the last player to win back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs? Well, too, it has happened twice.
Joe Montana?
Nope.
No, because
Jerry Rice won the first one
in there,
in that back-to-back.
Bradshaw didn't do it, did he?
Terry Bradshaw.
Really?
Super Bowl 13 and Super Bowl 14. The other
and then Bart Starr was the other one, right?
Bart Starr in the first two. How many 300-yard passing games did Terry Bradshaw have in his entire career, regular and postseason?
Oh, my God, it's something pathetic. It's like 4 or 5.
It's 2.
Oh, good Lord.
Both were in the Super Bowl. He had 2 300-yard games his entire career, and both came in the Super Bowl.
I'm well aware of it. I was a Cowboys fan then, so...
That's pathetic.
As Lynn Swan said,
pathetic? What's pathetic about I was a Cowboys fan?
You know what? All you East Coast guys are just crap when it comes to your, the Boston and New York folks. Everybody was a Cowboy fan back there because the Pats and Jets and Giants weren't good during our youth. You're much older than me, but in your youth, and so you're all Cowboy fans. My buddy JB, his wife, they grew up Cowboy fans. She's from Saratoga, New York. He's from Edison, New Jersey.
There was one reason that I became a Cowboys fan. Bob Hayes. I love Bob Hayes. That was why I became a Cowboys fan.
Who are you a fan of now?
Nobody really. I don't really have a favorite football team. I still have some affection. I still have some affection for the Cowboys. I like the Chiefs because I'm here.
But that's pretty sad.
I'll give you credit for not going back and picking up the Patriots retroactively.
I will credit you for that as well. I will credit you that as well. But I like the Bears and Rams because I liked Walter Payton and I love the Rams uniforms when I was a kid. But I also was a Chiefs fan.
Well, I was the Chiefs. I was a Cowboys and Chiefs fan. I mean, the Cowboys were my favorite team, but I love the Chiefs field. George Toma had that field looking great, and their offense was very similar to the Cowboys. I think Hank Stram stole some stuff from Tom Landry. They both did that thing where the offensive lineman raised up and went back down.
Dallas did it for years.
And so there were a lot of similarities for the two teams in the way they played. So I've told this story many times. I won $200 on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
You were what, 14 then?
I was 13? Yeah. Yeah,
$200 in 1970 was a boatload.
One guy bet.
Dude.
No, actually, I won two.
What kind of schmuck did you run into?
260.
Oh, stop with the lying now, Danny.
I won
$200 is
no,
enough.
I won two. I won 260
already.
because I won 200 from one guy and he didn't pay.
So at 13, you went and
then
cracked
you really
his
didn't
kneecap?
win.
You didn't really win, did you?
Well, I did win. He made the bet, but his mother called me up and poor Jimmy can't afford that kind of money. I said, "Why don't you pay it, lady?"
Can you imagine 13-year-old Danny storming up on someone's doorstep demanding payment?
Well, it was so funny because nobody learned anything the year before the Jets had won, and the Chiefs were almost as big an underdog the next year, and I'm like, folks, I was telling anybody I could listen. The Chiefs are better. I mean, they look at the Vikings, man. They got two slow white guys in the backfield. The Chiefs are loaded with great black athletes all over the field, and Minnesota's going to win this game? No, they're not. Joe Cap threw like he was throwing with his wrong hand.
Yeah. You look back at that game, you're like, how was Minnesota a 14-point favorite? It was clearly the league perception.
Honestly,
I was so confident about it that this one ass clown said, "Oh, I'll give you 20-1." I'm like, "Sure, $10, buddy."
Was that an occupation or was that a nationality?
No, he was a jerk. I ended up playing on the golf team with him too. He was a complete cretin. I have a hysterically funny story I'll tell you sometime about a high school reunion when he lied about the whole story about the bet.
Oh,
I've
you
heard
told
that
me
one
that.
before. That's
that
a good
one.
one.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Stood there and bald-faced lied to my first wife that he paid off. I'm like, and then of course he was a politician. What? Yes, he was.
That's so fantastic.
It was.
I need to do something where I can lie and not care.
Yeah.
Have you considered politics?
It's a great story. I mean, it's a story has like a 20-year arc. It's great.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. I love it. All right. So listen, you just mentioned that, like, you look back on it, you're like, what the hell was that spread all about?
Well, that's
right?
maybe what you're thinking.
Well, it is. And that's what I was going to say, is to bring the conversation back to today.
Yes.
I do believe that we're going to look back and be like, 3? Because I think, and if they win, do you agree with me that if they win, it launches next year? That this team, it gives them their mission for next year. If they lose, it's going to be like pisser. And, yeah, we want to get back. But if they win, they have history in front of them.
Well, I think in both. I think they'll have great incentive in either case. But, yes, they certainly will have the chance to do something that's never been done. But I think if they lose, they're going to be embarrassed because I feel like they feel like what you said earlier is that they are ready to kick ass, and they are convinced they're going to kick ass. And if they go out and don't do it, then they're going to say, we screwed up. So I think they'll have great incentive in either case. Now, the Super Bowl loser usually doesn't fare particularly well the following season, but I think that might be different in the Chiefs' case if they do happen to lose.
I think the last loser to come back and win the next year was the Dolphins. Dolphins in 72. I mean, that's going back a ways.
Right. Dallas did it the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that this game is huge because I think it sets the course for next year. Because I think they will be like, okay, whatever it takes, we're all in, let's go, and we'll debate during the offseason whether or not that's the right right way to go about it. So I just think I think it's going to be just an absolute. I do think this is going to be historic in nature, and we're going to spend. I got a note from the folks at. Sorry, I got distracted. Let me make sure this. Order early, 3 to 4. Pickup time is full. So
wow.
My buddy Eric at Joe said 3 to 4 is full. So start ordering, folks. Get it in because they're starting to fill up. They are open on Sunday, but get your order in now. Because it's starting to fill up fast.
And by the way, former intern Champ reminds me the Patriots came back after losing to Philly and won the next year. So it's
nice job.
I'm a moron.
Why do
Thanks,
we
Adam.
employ you again?
I have no idea. Been asking this question for 17 years. So is everyone else.
Early start to your weekend, though.
Yeah.
Silver lining.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. More with Danny Clinkscale. Danny Unleashed, brought to you by Easton Roofing. Find him online at eastonroofing.com. No payment collected until you are 100% satisfied, whether it's your home or your business. Easton Roofing is the best in the business. They'll get you back to business quicker by getting you the best job done the right way. Give you every option, educate you about all those options. That's how Easton Roofing does business. That's why they're an Angie's List Super Service Award winner. Find them online at eastonroofing.com.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, there's all kinds of roofing companies in Kansas City. People see their trucks, they see their ads, they see their commercials on TV. What separates you out from the pack?
Danny, you know, there's a lot of roofers in Kansas City that are good roofers that can put a good roof on, but we like to pride ourselves on giving you a good customer service experience. From the first time you call, you're going to get a friendly voice on the phone. We're going to let you know what's happening and when it's happening. And, you know, the other piece is some companies are small enough to do small jobs. Some companies are big enough to do big jobs. You know, we're right there in the middle. We can handle the little stuff. We can handle your repairs all the way up to your big commercial roofs.
So what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you at Easton Roofing?
You can find us at eastonroofing.com, or you can always call us at 913-257-5426. That's 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
You're listening to the program. It's Danny Unleashed, the great Danny Clinkscale from DannyClinkscale.com. Anything you want to plug on DannyClinkscale.com, Daniel?
Yeah, we got a little Super Bowl connection for today's Kansas City Profiles presented by Easton Roofing, as it is Steve Grogan, the former
that's awesome.
Kansas State and New England Patriots quarterback, who, of course, played in the not so great for the Patriots, 46-10 loss. But he actually did get in there after Tony Easton played bad at the start, and he threw for 171 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
so,
No, he was a definitive step up when he got in the game, and you got to love anybody who plays quarterback with a neck roll.
Yeah, I mean the list that one of the Boston Globe beat writer in the early 2000s named a toughness award for his coverage.
The Grogan Award.
Yeah, after Grogan, and he wrote a paragraph about why, and there's like 13 really impactful injuries that he played through in his career. Like he had 5 knee operations and shoulder surgeries.
Oh, God, he was a warrior.
And just played and played and played and played. So it's a really fun conversation.
You have to have talent to get to the league, but he wasn't the most talented guy, right?
Right.
But toughness and smarts, no, he was. He was. That's awesome, man. I gotta check that out.
And they just kept him around. You know, he started at least 2, but most seasons, even after he stopped being a full-time starter, he would start like 4, 5, 6 games a year, and he was there for his entire 16-year career because he was such a great leader, and they could turn to him when they needed him. So it's really a fun conversation.
All right, check it out at DannyClinkscale.com. Danny, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. You can check them out at eastonroofing.com. Danny, what do you think about the legacy part of things? Do you buy into the I don't think Mahomes has to win to be the GOAT. Like, he can do enough on the other side of this to win.
I do think that he could still get to that.
It gets a lot harder. If he won 12 Super Bowls after this, he would be the GOAT.
Right.
Okay.
But it's going to be really hard if he doesn't, just because of what Brady will have done. That's the thing. And the fact that the head-to-head matchups at the end of Brady's career went towards Brady. So if it's close, then you're going to have to lean toward Brady. But that won't mask the fact that it will still be more of a. He's still the greatest player to play quarterback. He played better quarterback than anybody else ever has. He's going to wear that mantle no matter what. But to be the GOAT with accomplishments and things like that, this is pretty darn important.
Well, barring injury, he's going to finish no worse than wherever Aaron Rodgers is right now, right? Because he's going to continue to put up prolific numbers.
Right.
You know, he's already ahead of Dan Marino, and Dan Marino really had 2 big years in his first 3 or 4, and the rest of them are kind of pedestrian when you go look at what he did the rest of his career. I'm not saying they're pedestrian amongst the greats, right? There's nothing spectacular really about any of them. It's just good, solid quarterbacking the rest of the way. He had 2 monster seasons that really defined his career, and then some longevity, right, where he played well for a while. Mahomes, think about this, though. if he does go out there, and if the defensive line of the Bucs get the better of the Chiefs' offensive line, I mean definitively, not a couple plays here and there, which I think they will. I don't think Mahomes is going to avoid a sack in this game. But if he goes out there, takes sacks, is throwing the ball with a guy around his legs, is throwing the ball and then getting decked, and he wins, like, I think this game has the potential for him to show, and we know he's tough and he's got guts and he will do all that. But this is going to be, these are the games when on the Super Bowl, when you do it in a Super Bowl, everybody sees every single play of it. And this is one that I think if he does win, he takes a giant step to where, like, they might be, okay, Brady's still the GOAT because he's got 6, but this kid is definitively number 2. Like, no one's talked about that part of it. Like, if he wins, and he wins valiantly because the O-line's having a tough day, and he still gets it done, and especially if he gets it done with a last-minute drive, right? Now, I think they're going to kick ass, and so I don't think he's going to get quite as much credit as he probably deserves. But if he would win it on a last-minute drive with 6 sacks and, 10 knockdowns in addition to that, and he finds a way to win it, I think he vaults to definitively number 2 all time.
Oh, I think, yes. I think people are already talking about him in the terms of, they can't find a way to describe how good he is, so they are starting to talk about that. And if he does that, and also the thing is, if he's under real bad duress in this game, we know that what happens in those games a lot of times is that he makes 3 or 4 stupendous plays, with somebody hanging on him, or he's throwing across his body or sidearming one because he's about to get walloped. So that will even add to it further, because we've seen that he turns plays that should be disastrous into first downs and touchdowns.
Yeah. But do you get what I'm saying? That, like, yeah, he's in the discussion. Some people are saying, he's the baby GOAT, he's all this. But, like, I think there'll be no more discussing anybody else but him and Brady. Like, if he has that kind of game, there's no one else. You're not talking about Elway. You're not talking about Montana. You're not talking about Rodgers. You're not talking about anybody but him and Brady. We're down to a Jordan LeBron, right? That's where we're at on the greatest all-time in NBA, right? There's 2 people that we discuss. I think that's where the NBA discussion is. And I think at 25, Patrick Mahomes will be at the point to where there are only 2 quarterbacks that are discussed as the greatest of all time.
I don't disagree with that at all, especially, as you say, is the way we're painting it, that it's some valiant. And if they win in a rout, yeah, he's still going to be talked about. But, if they really just rub the Buccaneers out, there's always the possibility that, they'll step off the gas and he won't end up having a great statistical day or whatever, So, but as you say, if he's got, grass stains all over his jersey, the one thing I'm just desperately hoping for is that it doesn't rain.
It's supposed to.
I know. I hate.
I actually hope it does, because I think his rocket arm fires the ball.
I don't think I don't think it's a disadvantage for the Chiefs, but I just like watching championship football in good conditions. Period. I don't like snow games.
As long as they can still have the full playbook. Where it doesn't turn into, all right, we got to run a bunch of dives, right? As long as the full playbook's there, I think that may add to it. I think it adds to the mystique of the matchup. I
just don't want to see some, defensive back falls down, that type of stuff. I like good conditions. That's just me. I don't like watching golf in bad conditions. I just like watching, especially.
God forbid the golfers have to put on a jacket.
You see one of those guys slip, running for a putt.
I just like seeing the sunshine, and
you won't see any sun.
I want to see good conditions for a high-level championship football game. If you want to watch a regular season game in the snow, fine. But championship football, I want good conditions. Just me.
What a panty waste. Football is made to be played in elements. Danny, you're the man. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Always fun.
All right, Danny Clinkscale. Read his work at DannyClinkscale.com. He's brought to you by the great folks at Easton Roofing.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.